Fort Hare. It appears we've corrected all our technical problems, so I'll call the meeting back to order. And our next agenda item is agenda item number 8, which is adoption of minutes. Councillor Cosby.
I'd like council to refer agenda items 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4 back to administration for review and correction, and direct administration to bring the revised minutes forward to the next regular council meeting for consideration.
I understand there was some technical concerns with those minutes.
Yeah, there was a few noted items that were missed and mixed up, so I have sent an email to administration for correction of those minutes.
Discussion by council? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Any business arising out of the minutes or unfinished business from administration?
Nothing from administration, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anything from council?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did that tax agreement we referred to, it's motion 26-138 where we approved the tax agreement? Did that go ahead or?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I didn't hear that it didn't go ahead, so I assume that it did.
And if there is anything, you'll let us know.
Now, if the tax,
Okay.
sorry, Hank. Mr. Mayor, members of council, if the tax agreement did not get executed, then that piece of property, how would I put this? That piece of property will go into the tax collection process and it'll come back to council.
Thank you. Item number 10.1, bylaw Fin 01-2026. And I believe, Mr. Van Buell, you're looking after that one?
Yes, and Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of council, so we've now had our advertising timelines met. We did not, administration did not receive any petition to against the proposed borrowing bylaw. So therefore, the next step is to give the bylaw second and third reading. What that does is it sets the clock in motion for any legal review of the actual bylaw that a member of the public can bring forward. The requirement is we must give 30 days, a 30-day period between third reading and when we can officially submit the requirements for the borrowing. So that's what we're looking for today is give second and third reading to bylaw FIN 2026. So as council's aware, this bylaw came forward as a result of administration recommending a change to the capital plan for 2026. And we have a number of repairs that are required ahead of moving forward with the 47th Avenue project. I want to point out one thing that has to be corrected in the bylaw. The original bylaw was 640,000 and this one moved to 650. We need to move it back to 640,000. That is the amount that we have in there. As council, if council remembers back to the debate, we had a number of options for the one spot repair on the alley area. And what we've continued to leave in the bylaw is the most expensive option that we priced out. I will say that we are still working on other options, because that option is an expensive option to go forward. And what we did, and one of the reasons for a couple of the amendments to the bylaw, because there was some wording amendments that was recommended by Municipal Affairs, and that will allow us to, any dollars that we're under in this year's budget, to move forward into the 2027 project and borrow less in 2027. So that's our contingency plan. Again, the cost, I think, was $260,000 for the one spot repair in the alley, and we are working on we have a couple options that we believe are substantially less than that, as in probably $100,000 less than that. As we go forward, we're gonna, we have talked to the landowner about a couple of the options, because it directly affects that landowner's property. And as of today, the landowner is okay with either one. So we're gonna cost those both out and get the most cost-efficient option that causes us the least amount of long-term cost for maintenance, because there's one option there that has some longer-term maintenance costs that we want to try to avoid, but we're going to cost them both out and go forward from there. So the bylaw, if we go to the bylaw, the clean copy has a $650,000 amount on it, and it should be $640,000. That was the original. And again, I apologize for that, but it is $640,000. We have, and there might be a question on, does that give us enough contingency in case? Between what we think is going to be the ultimate option to go down, but even if we have to go in, we have built-in contingencies to those other projects. I will tell you that we got a preliminary report from Associated Engineering. Our original cost estimates on all the other projects, they were a level 3. We now have the tenders in, and they are positive, as in they're going to be under that budget. Not by a lot, but certainly enough that we'll have a contingency if we do open up one of those projects and we find any surprises. We should be good to be covered. So again, so I guess the one, there's a red line version of the bylaw, but it still says $650,000, so we need to amend that again to say $640,000, and then we can give second and third reading to the bylaw, which will start the 30-day clock. The 30-day clock will take us, it's June 3rd, so it takes us to July 2nd, which is when we can then submit our paperwork to Alberta Municipal Affairs for the borrowing. Allegra will be on vacation then, but she'll be back by the 15th. That will give us plenty of time to have our funds prior to needing to make final payment on the project. We should be able to go forward with the project earlier in the summer. Again, once we award the contract, we'll work out the exact timelines, and we'll let council know what those timelines are, as well as the public, and where those spot repairs are. The bigger issue, and the one that's probably going to be tackled last, is the repair on Highway 38, because we're going to need a traffic accommodation plan with transportation economic corridors. And that's going to be a bit tricky, because we don't want to reroute heavy traffic through our downtown core, because that'll cause us some other problems. So the engineers are working on what that accommodation plan will look like.
So you're looking for the amendment to the bylaw as your first motion, and then readings 2 and 3. Councillor Olson?
I'd like to make a motion that the amend the bylaw FIN -01-2026 for $640,000 instead of $650,000.
Thank you. Discussion? Not seeing any, I'll call that question. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Olson?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the amended bylaw FIN -01-2026 as circulated.
Second reading? Yeah. Okay. Call that, any further?
That's second reading then?
Second reading.
Second reading, yes.
Sorry, yeah, second reading.
Call
I'll
that
make my
question.
second
All in
amendment.
favor? Thank you. Councillor Spicer?
Move that you give bylaw FIN 01-2026 third and final reading.
Thank you. Final discussion by council. We know this is our ongoing project. We keep at it each year. We do a little bit more and try to get the infrastructure up to an acceptable level. Not seeing any other discussion. I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried as well. Thank you, Mr. Van Buel. I know that's been a bit of a headache for you trying to put those smaller projects into one big envelope, so.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just make one comment.
Yes, please.
As you said, this is a little bit of a different one because we're taking care of, probably 4 other spots. And so it's tough to make it into one project, so that was a bit of the dilemma in going forward with this. I think the bigger part of this is, based on the costing that we got this year. I don't want to say it too loud because, sometimes it comes back to bite you, but it looks like maybe some of our construction costs have maybe stabilized a bit and haven't seen the bigger jumps. Because we based it off of, those cost estimates were based on actual costs from last year for different projects that were done by AE in the area, and they only had a 5% inflation factor on them. And it looks like that 5% inflation factor was enough for sure these projects. I will say that the bidders on these projects were not any of the big players, they were more small players, so that might be part of it. But again, with these projects being smaller in nature, certainly something that smaller companies can handle more easily. So there might be a light at the end of the tunnel that's not a train.
Thank you. Agenda item 11, new business. 11.1, assessment review board appointments. Mr. Van Buel.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, so the purpose of this is to appoint newly certified individual from the Capital Region Assessment Services Commission. We recently received a letter from the Capital Region Assessment Services that they have an additional member that's been certified and available to sit on reviews. The person's name is Braden Lanstott, and again, this is one of those things where all the municipalities who are involved in the Capital Region Assessment Services Commission have to appoint the person so that they can see any, or they can hear any reviews that come before the board. So the proposed motion is that council will appoint Braden Lanstott as an additional member of the Local Assessment Review Board and Composite Assessment Review Board for a term ending December 31st, 2026. The reason for the term ending is they get appointed annually. This is one that come midterm, so they'll be appointed till the end of this year. Normally, I believe the training lasts for 3 years, so this person will be eligible to be reappointed for the next year's term as well.
Thank you. Councillor Smith.
I'll make a motion that council appoint Braden Lancott to an additional, as an additional member of the Local Assessment Review Board and Composite Assessment Review Board for a term ending December 31st, 2026.
Thank you. Discussion by council. Go ahead.
Yeah, do we have anyone, I assume this fellow, the way you were talking, is not from Redwater. Do we have any members from Redwater on that board?
I do not believe we do.
Do we have to use the city-based commission for our local assessment review board?
Go ahead, Mr. Van Buel.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, certainly we don't have to use that. We are a member of that board. And the reason that we use that board is because of the training requirements and getting the number of people that are required to hear any review. It is onerous to get the training and keeping people on the training board. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be proven wrong, but I don't believe we've had a review go to the board from the town of Redwater in the 4 years that I've been here. We had one that went, asked for a recess or asked for, extra time, and then he abandoned, the landowner abandoned their appeal. And that's the only one that I'm aware of. So the board never actually did hear an appeal from the landowner.
If I may,
Yes, please.
if a resident is appealing their house, not a business, not industrial, but a house, a residence, is the hearing held in Redwater?
Yes, sorry, Mr. Mayor, members of council, yes, it would be held in the town. It would be the members who travel to the location.
And that's made public so the public can sit in and see what's going on?
You know what?
Assessments are a public.
Yeah, they're public, so there's no reason why they couldn't.
Well, things are public, but if nobody knows about them, they're not really public.
Well, and to be honest with you, Councillor Cowley, I'd have to fall back on what Mr. Van Buel just said. I don't have the experience of having had one recently to be able to fall back on what the procedure was, but I believe they have to be advertised to some extent, but I don't know to what extent.
That will be a question I'll have to get back to you on, because to Mr. Cowley's point, I don't think they do have to be advertised, but they do have to be open to the public. That is my understanding. But I've been wrong before, so. But I will research that one and get the answer back to you.
I would definitely encourage that if there is one, that the town publicize it if the commission doesn't. Just, it's our residents, it's in our best interest to make sure they're treated fairly. And
Yeah. Any further discussion? Good questions, real good questions. Call that one, that question, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Mr. Van Buel. Municipal Planning Commission meeting schedule. I believe we're in your hands again.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, so this is an item that I put forward to the Municipal Planning Commission. So right now, we don't have a regularly scheduled MPC meeting on any given month. And so what happens is if something needs to go to MPC, there's a fee of $500 to call an MPC meeting. And we had a number of, and I'll say this right now, I made an executive decision. We had a number of things that went forward to the MPC. And what we did was we split those costs between the different applicants, because otherwise we would be gaining $1,000 or $1,500 for a meeting of our MPC. And it got me to thinking, and I went to the Municipal Planning Commission with this, that in a lot of places that I've worked before, there's been a regularly scheduled MPC meeting on the whatever day of whatever month of the month. And then if there's nothing to be held, you cancel that meeting. The chair can cancel that meeting. And what that does is it facilitates your development because people know when the meetings are. They bring things forward, and then they have a decision to make. They can either decide to wait for the next MPC meeting, regularly scheduled MPC meeting, or then they can pay a fee to have something expedited because you're calling a special meeting. So it's a little easier on the pocketbook for people who want to bring things forward. I think it's more user-friendly because a $500 fee for bringing something forward when there might be only one thing on the agenda is, that's one thing. If you want it, expedited. But if it's, a regular, hey, I want to put a 4-foot fence in my front yard instead of a 3-foot fence in my front yard, a $500 fee is relatively steep for that. So at the MPC meeting on May 5th, MPC made the motion to recommend to council that a regular scheduled MPC meeting be held monthly. And the MPC agreed to a monthly meeting on the second Tuesday of the month at 4 p.m. The reason I think we picked the second Tuesday is that's the Tuesday that doesn't have a council meeting. If you have an MPC meeting at 4 o'clock, you can, for the councilors who might have a policy committee meeting that day, we rarely, if ever, have a MPC meeting that goes past 30 minutes, let alone 2 hours. So that's that was kind of the rationale for it. Financially, public MPC members are compensated $50 per meeting. They get that on a special meeting or other. With council members also getting the $50 meeting, which for a meeting which lasts less than 2 hours. As I said, I think 30 minutes is probably the, and the 2 MPC members on council can correct me if I'm wrong, but 30 minutes is pretty much a long MPC meeting. So from a dollars and cents perspective, it's going to cost us $250 per meeting that's held. That might not have a fee to it. If we wanted to put a fee for regular meetings into the fees and charges bylaw in the next budget, we could certainly do that. Quite frankly, I think the $250, if we had a meeting every month between now and the end of the year, we'd be 250 times 6 months, so we'd be $1,500, $1,700, something in there. It's not an exorbitant amount, and we've probably made that in our budget on special on fees collected to date from the MPC. So that's my rationale. Certainly, talking to MPC, they were in favor. Yes, it's another regularly scheduled meeting, but again, if there's nothing on the agenda, we could simply cancel that. That would be at the prerogative of the chair. So, if that I'd answer any questions.
Councillor Cosby?
I move that the council approve the Municipal Planning Commission regular meeting date and time as the second Tuesday of the month at 4 p.m.
Thank you. Discussion. Go ahead, Councillor.
Make a friendly amendment commencing in September of 2026.
Sure.
Is that all right with you, Councillor?
That is perfectly all right with me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any discussion on this? Go ahead, Councillor Cowley.
I think this is excellent. It's cutting the cost for residents and investors in the community, and at the same time adding predictability and easing the access to it. Like I'm impressed. So yes, I'm in favor of it all the way.
It just makes it easier for the 5 of us on the commission, because sometimes it's been 2 or 3 emails, 3 or 4 or 5 dates, so now we know, second Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we're meeting here unless you get an email saying no. Right, so.
Go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Do that during the summer as well? Just have them anyway, no matter what?
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, that was the friendly amendment that Councillor Olson said will start on September. That'll give us a year to figure out whether, or a few months to figure out whether we need to do that in the summer or whether we cancel those, because of the break. My thought on it right now is I think the summer's relatively slow. So you could probably leave it in there with nothing coming up, then you just cancel it. But I think that'll be a discussion that the development officer has with the MPC, and then we'll come back when we do our organizational meeting in October and come up with a better game plan.
Anything else from council? I'd just like to throw in your comment with regards to the fees and charges bylaw. I would be very much looking forward to a discussion about what we should charge for the regular scheduled meetings. I don't think they should be free, but if you have 4 or 5 items put onto the agenda, then accumulated, they would cover any costs if you had a $75 or $100 cost or something for a regular meeting
Mr. Mayor,
attendance. But I'm just saying, for the fees and charges argument, that would be my position.
so, Mr. Mayor, again, and members of council, full disclosure, this was one of the ones that I didn't connect the dots until I was doing the development officer piece, and I'm going, and my advice as a CAO would be, for regular business items, it's okay to recover costs. Making money off of that is a bit tough, and I think that goes back to Councillor Cowley's comment is, there's only one way to make a community development friendly, and that's if you make it development friendly. And that is, to use a term from the province, it's cutting red tape and making things easier. And sometimes easier isn't just the process. Again, a $500 check that you have to write for a development permit doesn't make development easy for your community. So.
Anything further? Motion on the floor to establish meeting dates of the second Tuesday, 4 p.m. for the MPC committee, commencing September of 2026. I'll call that question. All in favor? And that's carried. Reports. Councillor Olson? Any reports?
Oh, no.
No? Anything? No?
It rained for 2 days.
Councillor Cosby?
Not at this time.
I'd just like to say that the electronics pickup for the library was very successful. We made $1,606 and 3,200 tones.
Very nice. Good work. That was a very,
How did you get that information already? I thought we did good. I didn't know there was numbers involved already. You got some insight.
That was one of the.
Councillor Spicer.
Nothing to report.
Councillor Cowley?
I had my orientation last week for a day and a half, and again, it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I know people are being told and have been told that the town is running a lean operation, but until you actually see it and see the difficulty with redundancy where you've got a backup, not only for equipment, but a backup for ticketed manpower out in the field, like it's a struggle. They're juggling all the time. It's like running a farm. You know something's going to break down. You just got to figure out how you're going to cover it when it does. And again, when I did the office here too, it was really enlightening, like some of the stuff regarding the finances and whatnot. Some of it I didn't particularly agree with, and that will come up. But it was a greater understanding of it. It was very good, and I know you've probably all taken it several times, but I was impressed with it. It wasn't manipulation.
Good.
Thank you.
Councillor Butcher?
Nothing to report.
The only thing I'd like to throw into reports is I sat in a webinar on Friday. It was put on by the Regional Library commission, no, that's not the right words, but it's a regional library group. And it was completely focused on Bill 28 and the provisions of Bill 28. And I'm going to pass on to our two library representatives. Sit down, strap in, and hold on, because if anything from that webinar comes to fruition, our libraries are going to have a 180-degree turn to what they are today. Things like having to check identification for age-appropriate materials, different sections in the library having to be cordoned for that sort of thing. It was really, I'll use the term scary, but I don't know enough about it right now to dive completely into it. But I would encourage, if you have anything going on at the library, reference Bill 28, that you bring that material back to council whenever you can, because it's interesting, to say the least. Look for a motion to accept Councillor Butcher reports. I'm sorry? Oh, okay, thank you. Call that question, all in favor? And that's carried. Correspondence and items, 13.1, the AIHA. I had an opportunity when I was at Secure Energy's open house to bump into Mark Plamondon from the Alberta Industrial Heartland Association. He apologized with respect to the fact that when they had the AIHA organizational meeting back November after the election, that AIHA had missed talking with the associate members about their role and what have you within the organization. So he forwarded the agreement that we have there and thanked me for coming to the meetings when they have them and that sort of thing. Mr. Van Buel and I had a meeting with a gentleman by the name of Darwin Durney. Darwin has a role within the Water for Life program and within the provincial government. Mr. Durney has several hats that he wears within the operational organizational structure. He presented to us some information with respect to the I can't remember the full name of it, but the appeal board with respect to public agency list. I don't know if it'll click here or not, maybe it will. Anyway, it's an opportunity for anybody who would like to volunteer with respect to the appeal board for those with AISH and handicapped housing, those sorts of things, and they have a concern. It's volunteer group that hears the appeals, much like Crask would for an assessment appeal. And there's openings available. Very much looking for people who would like to step forward and be involved in that process. He was kind enough to send me that link. I think I sent it out to you all at some point in time, but it's available to anybody who would be interested in being involved. You can get in touch with Mr. Durney. If you don't have his direct contact or you're not successful, let me know and I'll put you in touch with him. No problem. And then if my agenda opens up again. The Ford Air Partnership. I attended their annual general meeting and their open house 2 weeks ago in the Dow Center. They are now called the Heartland Air Monitoring Project? Partnership. All right, good. It's opened up, all right. So the Heartland Air Monitoring Partnership, as you may be aware, has 20-odd air monitoring stations around as far north as Thorhild, south of the city itself, and then east out into the Elk Island Park area and what have you. And they monitor umpteen number of particulates in the air. We have a monitoring station here in town right beside the town building, and they provide all of the summaries of what's happening with us. It was interesting at the meeting that they also advised us that currently Alberta is light years ahead of any other province in Canada for monitoring the air and reporting that to the federal government. And so they sent us stuff, and this was a particulate matter study from the Gibbons area that showed a high concentration in that area close to the city. So it was an interesting presentation, and I thought the report would be interesting to council. And you can go on their website anytime. It's a live website, and you can get the results of their monitoring process right at that time. So that was the information from HAMP. Look for a motion to accept the correspondence. Councillor Cosby?
To make that motion?
Oh,
Comment. With regards to the industrial heartland, is there any benefit to us being an associate member? Or is it one of these ones that we should be looking at as dropping out? I mean, we've only been fighting for 10 years to get our town on the map.
Councillor Smith?
Well, I'll take you back to about 10 years. When we had industry threaten to quit volunteering and quit donating if we left them high and dry, because they do like input from municipalities in the region. And I thought, I mean, I still believe that we're further ahead to stay a part of it and receive some of the donations and funding that we're getting through partnerships than what it's costing us.
Go ahead, Councillor Kelly.
I sort of have to take Mal's side on this. I think the agreement is very clear on what it lays out. We always want improvements, but I think we're getting a lot more benefit than we would see if we walked away, even if some of that benefit is not financial. It gets our name out. It gets us rubbing shoulders with industry. And then it's up to us to do our advocating and lobbying and to build relationships. I know things are difficult right now with one of our neighboring municipalities, but I really think that this is a good agreement, and it gets our foot in the door.
Councillor?
I don't mind with the agreement and everything, but I mean, I've gone to a few of the meetings, and when you sit there and you can't say a thing, we advocate on our own behalf. I mean, we had NWR offices right here for, what, 2 years, or whatever. You know, I mean, we're 100% pro industry and everything down the road. But I mean, I personally feel if I'm going to a meeting and I'm inviting to that meeting, I want to have some input into that meeting. I don't want to be sitting in the back and only get, you know, speak when you're spoken to, and, oh, closed session, get out. You know, it's...
Councillor Smith?
The closed session portion has always been
Contention?
Tension. It has. I mean, we've always thought we should be allowed to sit in on it. I mean, we do understand why, because it's their financials and it is private. But unless it's changed, we all sat around the same table and we got we got asked questions, and we got to give them our 2 cents worth.
Yeah, 'cause a couple of meetings I've been to, is you're sitting off to the side.
All right. I'll just update you as to the last meeting and also reference Mr. Plamondon's meeting that I had over at Secure. I did mention to him that there should be actually an agenda item for the associate members where we could bring up things, what have you. And I did notice in the last 3 meetings, since there's been a change in the chair, that there has been anything from the associate members when an item has come to the table. So I think one of the problems that the association has is that they have that cyclical chair process. And I don't think every chair understands exactly what the associate membership came from or is looked at. I don't believe we do pay an annual fee or anything to AIHA, so it's not a monetary thing that we have unless we join in with their annual festival or whatever we call it. But I would argue that there is a substantial benefit to it for the simple reason that we get to hear firsthand from the industries straight to us. That's where we see the benefit as opposed to having to go out and knock on a door. I know Mr. Van Buell and I had lunch today with NWR just as a courtesy. How are things going? What are we doing? That kind of thing. But the only way that happened was because we picked up the phone and said, hey, let's have lunch. So we can't do that with every industry, but if we're at a meeting where all those industries are there, and I know for a fact that there's quite a few of them that show up that don't get to speak on behalf of their industry. So my argument is I think it would do us well just to hang in and see what happens over the next
I
short
was
while.
just throwing that out there because, I mean, just from my experience, it's one of those, you know, and like I said, personally, if I get told to sit in the back, but you want me there, but you don't want me to speak, then I'm not gonna be there.
My understanding is the only, currently, and
Yeah, currently,
I
yeah.
will say currently, that the only restriction on us is that we're not allowed to vote. We certainly have a voice when anything has come up. We're able to ask a question. I know a predecessor from Bruderheim, Carl Hoke, was more than vocal at the meetings several times with respect to questions and that sort of thing. So
We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I mean, with the membership itself depleting, I guess you can say.
yeah, I know they are in the process of losing Edmonton, and I haven't heard the uptake on Sturgeon yet. So, go ahead.
I thought there was some money, though. I thought there was a gold, silver, bronze thing.
That's
What was that?
that's for their convention, and that's a sponsorship. If we want to have our name up on as a sponsor, with
just
the
the convention.
agreement, our name goes up regardless as an associate member. But if we want something special at the convention, then we have to buy one of their sponsorship levels. If we so choose.
Mayor,
Mr. Van
can I
Beel?
just make a comment? So I didn't open this up actually until Monday, but on Friday, we got a letter from Fed Gas, and it's in relation to
Bill 28.
Bill 28. And I'm still trying to find out some of the information, because
Yeah, it was
So-
vague. The letter was sort of vague.
and what was in the letter, and I'll just read what I've got, and this is, I'll be sending, I don't know if council got this letter as well, but I'll be sending it out to council.
Yeah, I sent it to everybody.
Okay, it says specifically, Bill 28 adds section 44.1 to the Municipal Government Act, providing government with sweeping powers to regulate the transfer of ownership and control of municipal gas utilities to either a privately owned or investor-owned public utilities whose management may be centralized elsewhere in Alberta or Canada and whose goals may be profit-driven. So, my understanding when I did a pretty shallow dive on this, I haven't done a deep dive yet, is basically for public-owned utilities, if the government doesn't like what they see, they can order the utility sold. even though it's owned by a municipality. That is my understanding in broad strokes, how this works.
I understand, Councillor Olson, you'll be going to a conference fairly quickly,
No, it's, yeah, June 15th, I'll be
Yeah.
talking to Mr.
and I'm
Keane.
sure that'll be on the agenda of one of the plenaries for sure, so maybe you can bring back some first-class information on that too. And interestingly, it's Bill 28, the same one that has all the information regarding the library.
And this, and,
Yeah.
And municipal taxation.
Yes.
yeah.
So, lots in that information world. So, now that we've had this conversation, did we get a motion to accept?
I interrupted.
I gave that motion. I got interrupted.
Councillor Cosby, thank you for that. I had a conversation with Councillor Cowley during his orientation. And the discussions we have, like we just had, are invaluable. I appreciate them tremendously. So if you have an idea or a question or a comment, I think that sort of thing is wonderful. Anyway, that's my perch. Anything else with regards to correspondence? Call that question. All in favor? That's carried.
Go ahead, Mr. Cowley.
Motion to adjourn.
Want to adjourn?
Only if you do.
Hey. I move we adjourn.
All right, call that question. All in favor? That's carried.
Good job, Ed.
I had no idea that was in Bill 28.
I had to read it a couple times to figure out, they're gonna come and say,
I really shallow.
They did a survey, and there was a number of libraries that said, we're done. We're gonna close the door.
Well, they just